Real quick, I wanted to mention that you can use code Dynamite to save 10% off any order over at Control Freak, including for the brand new Black Ops 6 Cerberus thumbsticks. You can also save money with code Dynamite off any Steel Series order, including for the new Zombies collaboration they did, featuring the Mr. Peaks headset accessory and even a Monkey Bomb mousepad. But more information is going to be linked down below. This is dkdynamite, and it's been a couple of days since the launch of Black Ops 6. I wanted to go through and cover every major side Easter egg here inside of Terminus. Now, I am expecting in the coming days or weeks, maybe even longer, some additional side quests could also be discovered, but this map has also been compared to Shadows of Evil in terms of how many side quests are available, whereas Liberty Falls is more in line with D Machine. Either way though, there are quite a few surprises that you don't want to miss out on. Also, feel free to refer to timestamps down below, and expect plenty of updates over in the detonated article if new Easter eggs are discovered. But without further ado, enjoy. Now let's start off with the music Easter egg for the song Can You Hear Me. This can be activated just like the song over on Liberty Falls, where you have to find some Mr. Peak headphones. The first pair will be located in the engineering right here, as you can see. The next pair of headphones will be in the mining tunnels, which could be hard to spot because it is fairly dark in here. But last and certainly not least, the third and final pair of Mr. Peak headphones will be here in the biolab. Once you've activated that third pair of headphones, the song will begin to play. So similar to the bank vault over in Liberty Falls, we have an armory here in Terminus, which is a bit easier to access. You don't need a code to actually get in. So once you get into this armory room, there are a bunch of safety deposit boxes that can be opened up, and in order to open up these boxes, you have to find various loot keys. Now, the loot keys will drop randomly from some of the heavier enemies inside of your gameplay, so whenever you see a certain rarity loot key, you can pick it up, stash it in your inventory, and bring it right to this armory, where you could be rewarded with a bunch of random items, whether it's a wonder weapon, whether it's a high rarity item, a support streak, some points, salvage, the works. Very similar to, like I said, the bank vault, which I covered in my Liberty Falls side Easter egg video, which went out yesterday. Now, something extra that I figured I'd include here in this video is when it comes to the beam smasher. I posted a full wonder weapon guide a couple of days ago, but something that I missed out on is that when it comes to the equation step for building a free wonder weapon, you can actually bypass the algebra if you just pay Dr. Peck 5,000 points. Now, I know there's a quote on screen that hints that you can do this, but I actually missed this the other day when we were first hunting Terminus. So after you pay Dr. Peck 5 grand, he'll give you the code that you can input within the computer. Now, the equation isn't hard to solve regardless. However, I figured I would mention this in the case you guys have some extra cash. Also, speaking of the beam smasher, you can also teleport to a random location on the map if you actually use the extra ability this weapon comes with on the Sentinel artifact drawing you can find on one of these rocks. I'm not sure what the significance is with this teleport ability, but it's probably something more narrative related than anything. Now, an elevator jump scare also got discovered, and honestly, it's not really much of a jump scare, but more so a cool little Easter egg when you're on the elevator. I'll show you exactly where it's located here on the TAC map. It's not far from the Rampage Inducer, but if you continuously jump on the elevator as it's going down, you'll start to see some pretty creepy things. You'll see a bunch of zombies looking at you, help is written on the walls, the lights will flicker, and it's gonna get pretty dark until you make your way back down to the lab. I think it's a really nice touch, and once again, really adds to the atmosphere of Terminus Island. Now, there's also a friendly stuffed animal Easter egg, which I think is actually pretty cool, and what you want to do is collect a bunch of different plushies, and they're located in several different areas around the map. The first one is a unicorn in a locker just by the stamina perk. You're also going to want to find another plushie located just outside of the engineering behind the fence. You'll see it right there. And then there's another plushie located in the biolabs just near the crafting bench. After that, you want to find this other plush right in the mining tunnels that is kind of hard to spot since it's pretty dark in here, but the next plush is going to be behind a light over on Crab Island. So you want to make sure that you get a boat, head over to the island. Next up, there's a plushie in a red bin located just by the mystery box in the shipwreck point of interest. So also pretty hard to spot. And then lastly, once you have all the plushies, you want to go back to the living quarters and interact with any plushie on the bed. And as you do that, they're going to start floating up and will start combining into a mega stuffed animal. As that happens, weapons. Some other free loot will drop in the process, but now that you have this extra little pet, this pet will last, I think, a couple of minutes or even a couple of rounds until it's destroyed, but it has the ability to revive you. It won't do very much damage to the actual zombies, but could be pretty clutch to bring into a boss fight or on a high round run if you guys are low on self-revives or just need a bit of backup if you're not playing with enough teammates. Now, this next Easter egg may be one of my favorites here inside of Terminus, and this is the Meteor. So this is something that has been misinterpreted a little bit. I know some folks out there are calling this the free Wonder Weapon Easter egg. It's not exactly that, and we'll get to why in a second, but what you want to do is get dead wire on any weapon of your choice. Doesn't have to be pack-a-punched, and what you want to do is shoot these two towers. You'll see a little ball of electricity on each of the towers. You just want to shoot that electricity enough times until you see the tower activate with that red light. So shoot these two towers with a dead wire weapon, and what you now want to do is wait for an entire round to progress. So if you're at the end of round 8, you want to make sure that at the end of round 9 is when you do activate the next step. The next step is to turn on the AA cannon, and once you do that, it should shoot a meteor straight out of the sky. What it's going to do is actually allow you to get some free loot from the crashed meteor site, and that'll be on one of these islands. As you can see here in my gameplay, it'll be the same island that the meteor crashes in within every single match, and once you get to that island, you'll be rewarded with a ton of different loot. It could be wonder weapons, salvage, high rarity weapons, points, and some other support items such as score streaks. It's a pretty cool Easter egg that I think was a bit finicky, because I think if you go ahead and activate the AA cannon right after shooting those towers, nothing ends up happening. So you want to make sure that round does progress, so I guess the towers could find the meteorite, if that's how we're going to explain it logically, but there you have it. Now, there's not one, but 2 free perk Easter eggs that have been discovered here on Terminus. Maybe there'll be a Perkaholic Easter egg discovered at some point soon, but as far as how to get this first free perk, it does involve the parasites and spores. So around the map and in the sea, there'll be various little rock islands that have spores on them, similar to the ones you may have seen in MW3 or even Zetsubo no Shima, and what you want to do is shoot the spores on those rock islands, which will cause parasite enemies to spawn right out of them. So once you've shot all the spores on that rock and you've killed all the parasites, you now want to progress another round. You have to repeat this process around 3 times, but you're going to be finding these spores on different rock islands every single round. So they're not that hard to spot. If you just literally drive a lap around the island with a boat, you'll come across the correct rock island that does have a bunch of spores on it. So once again, continue that process, shooting the spores, watching out for the big monster in the distance. It could send that gas cloud at you, so if you want to just dock on land for a second and get away from the gas storm, then proceed with shooting the spores, killing the parasites. That's probably the best strat, until after you've done this process 3 different times, you want to make your way into either the mining caves or the sea caves, where you're going to end up finding more spores just sitting here in the cave. After shooting all of these spores, take out all the enemies that do spawn, and then you'll be rewarded with a bunch of free points, salvage, and even a perk power-up. Looks like it's RNG as to which cave the spores are going to spawn in after you've done the process with the rock islands outside, but let me know what your experience has been with this down below in this video's comments. It's always a plus to get a free perk unlocked. Next free perk Easter egg is actually easier to get done, and all it involves you doing is killing the zombies within those cages that you'll find within the biolab. Now, what you want to do is repeat this process on 3 different rounds. The first round you do this, there'll be regular zombies. There's only a couple of cages you have to worry about, as you'll see in my gameplay. Just make sure if you have health bars on, you're paying attention to whether or not you fully finished off the zombie, because maybe you got the zombie to low health and forgot to finish them. So what you want to do is kill all the zombies within those cages, move on to the next round where you'll see vermin in the cages now, take those out, and then on the 3rd round, you should start seeing manglers in these cages. Once you've shot those 2 manglers, you'll then be rewarded with a free perk power-up right in front of the crafting table. We also have some free power-up Easter eggs that just got found, and like I said in my Liberty Falls video, it's totally plausible that there is a little side quest for each power-up that you can maybe get for free, but as of now, only a few have been discovered. As far as this power-up goes, this is a double points located in this specific room of the biolab. Just go up to the table and you'll see the icon laying towards the back of the desk. Shoot that and you'll be rewarded with the power-up. The other one is a max ammo, which can be awarded if you go ahead and throw an explosive item into the watchtower just outside of the spawn room. Now, I shot it with the ray gun at first and managed to get a piece of intel to fall out, but once my buddy Cajun threw a frag grenade perfectly into that watchtower window, as when the max ammo power-up did spawn in. Now, there's also a whack-a-mole Easter egg here on Terminus, and it's located over on Crab Island, but before you go there, make sure you have a Molotov cocktail in your inventory. So you can either craft one at a workbench for a limited amount of salvage, or of course, you may get one randomly by killing some zombies or looting random chests. Once you have a Molotov, you want to throw it at that box located right there towards the top of the rock. You'll see a crate just sitting there. Throw the Molotov at it, and boom, once you do that, a bunch of crabs will spawn in by your feet. You want to interact with it, and a 30-second whack-a-mole minigame will begin. So you want to hit as many crabs as you can with your melee weapon. This could be pretty tough because the hitbox is kind of strange. Maybe they'll tweak it a little bit later, but make sure the tip of the bat is what's hitting the crab. That's the best way to hit it. I didn't do that great on my first try, but certainly worth trying again and again to see what kind of rewards you can end up getting. But if you don't really hit as many crabs as you're supposed to, then you're going to be spammed with a bunch of grenades as a reward, which will definitely hurt you. Now, it wouldn't be an island map without a boat racing Easter egg, right? So Mr. Peaks has another mini game here for us, similar to the bowling alley Easter egg over in Liberty Falls. If you head over to the Castle Rock Island, just under the water, there's going to be a purple yacht that is flashing red. Pick up that boat or just interact with it, and it'll spawn you right into the boat racing minigame. You have a limited amount of time to race against your friends, of course, if you're on co-op, and depending on how fast you can actually beat the obstacle course, and depending on your placement, will determine the rarity of your rewards. I think as of now, it could be a bit inconsistent, where players that lose or get a lower placement than others could still get upwards of a bunch of points, some streaks, support items, and maybe even a wonder weapon. I know it's kind of just up to RNG as to what you get from some of these side Easter eggs, but definitely a really nice touch here for Terminus. You can, of course, accelerate and boost with the boat, and I think it's great to see that Mr. Peaks is heavily involved in a lot of these side quests. But now we have one of the craziest side Easter eggs that Treyarch's really ever done, and it may actually offer one of the coolest rewards that I've ever seen. So this is going to be the treasure hunt Easter egg. So what you want to do is get the melee macchiato perk and head over to the sea caves. There's going to be a barrier that you can punch wide open. Once you do that, there's going to be a captain skeleton in there, a chest, and even a map. What you want to do is wait for the dialogue and then go to where X is on the map and pick up a watch. It should be in the same location in every game, but just double check where it's actually pinging you to on that treasure map, and then you can go ahead and ping that yourself on your individual attack map. So once you get that watch, you want to bring it back to the captain, interact with them, and then there'll be a new X on the map as well. There'll actually be 3 new X's on that treasure map. So you want to go to all 3 of these locations, and you want to light the skeleton with a Molotov. Now, I think other fire-related equipment could also work, so let me know if that was something that you guys did down below in this video's comments. So once you set the skeleton on fire, it's going to spawn in an HVT. All you have to do is kill that HVT, so it's recommended that you bring in an upgraded weapon with decent rarity, or at least maybe 1 or 2 Pack-a-Punch tiers. Take out the HVT, and once you do that, he'll end up dropping a gold coin. You want to pick that up and then move on to the other X's located on your treasure maps. Again, it's unclear if these HVTs spawn in the exact same locations. Let me know again if your HVT spawns were the same as mine. But as you pick up these coins, a dark ether aura will begin to pop up on your screen, and that's going to stay there until you eventually have all 3 coins, when you can then go back to the captain and give those coins to him. Once you do that, he's going to give you 3 legendary weapons in exchange for those gold coins. So what you want to do now is decide if you want to continue to the coolest part of the side quest, or you can just take those legendary weapons and move on from there. Definitely a quick way to go ahead and upgrade your arsenal if you're trying to do a fast Easter egg run, or you just don't feel like going ahead and using salvage to upgrade your weapon's rarity. Sometimes it can give you a shotgun, an XM4, or other legendary weapons that you might find useful. If you continue with this quest though, there's going to be one last X on the treasure map. You want to go to the big island, as you can see here in my gameplay. And what you want to do is survive a couple of rounds. I believe it's around 3, but could even be less than that. And after a couple of rounds, a big lightning strike will actually hit the island, and that means a storm is coming, right? So what that actually means is that a special treasure chest is now on that island. If you open that chest, there'll be a cursed talisman in there, and you're actually going to get an achievement for picking this up, but the cursed talisman will make it so that you lose about 500 points per hit. So every time you get hit by an enemy, you'll lose some money, but you get a 30% point bonus as you kill zombies. So if you get hit, you can still earn that money pretty quickly right back into your inventory, which is awesome. And if you go in and combine this with double points or maybe even profit sharing, you can actually rack up quite a bit of money as long as you're not getting hit, and use this talisman to your advantage. Now you can also drop the talisman back into the chest if you want to let one of your teammates pick it up so that they can accumulate some points. This is also a fantastic method to make sure that you get everything max upgraded to your liking before, let's say, going into the Terminus ending boss fight. But like I said earlier, this may just be one of the most useful side Easter egg rewards that we've ever seen inside of Treyarch Zombies. Now this next Easter egg reminds me of something that we saw over in Tag der Toten. So what you're going to be doing is cooking in this side Easter egg, which will also reward you with an achievement. So you want to go to the big body of water in the biolabs and you want to look for some fish. You should see the fish exactly where I'm seeing them in my game, but if that was different for you guys, let me know down below in the comments. You want to cook a grenade and just throw it into the water right near the fish, which will sadly kill them. But once you've done that, you'll see a little bit of loot spawn. You can pick that up, but the fish that you ended up killing can also be obtained. Go up to those fish and just hold interact on them, and for some reason in my match I couldn't see me actually grabbing the fish, but once you interact with the fish, they'll be in your inventory. Just know that. After that, you want to collect some other ingredients. There'll be a plant that you can see in a box near the mess hall. Now you also want to make sure while you're in the mess hall you pick up the cooking oil, and then there'll also be a can of beans in this same mess hall which you can pick up real quick. Some of these other ingredients do end up disappearing when you grab them, which is helpful just for reference. And then there's going to be another mountain of salt that you can grab on top of the fridge. This is going to be in the living quarters, by the way. Next up, you're going to pick up a battery located on a workbench here in the engineering building, and then you're going to want to pick up a brain located on a scale within the biolab downstairs. I know I actually came across this by accident when the map first came out, and I knew it had to be tied to an Easter egg, right? Once you have all those ingredients, you now want to head back to the mess hall and go ahead and interact with this specific pan, not the one on the right, but the one on the left, and it'll actually throw all those ingredients into the pan. You now want to progress the round so that the cooking can finish, and then once you've done that, you'll be rewarded with an achievement. There isn't any other reward tied to this little quest to my understanding, but I think it's still great to see Treyarch having fun implementing side Easter eggs here for Terminus.